Hi, Warriors. How's everyone doing today? Hello, Michael, AJ. Hi, Amira. What's working? Hello, Andrew, Marcus. Welcome to Face, Marcus. You're a new name to me. James Groom, Kman, George,
Good
Brand. How
morning,
are you?
Coach.
Hey, hi, Blake. How are you?
Good.
How you
I'm
doing?
gonna I'm here to help you out. But I know
Okay.
you wanted to get us kicked off, and then I'll take it from here.
Yeah, I have to retire anyway, Blake. I don't have RSI. So anyway,
You don't have the
so
real simple indicator. What the
yeah,
hell?
oh, you remember that. That's cool. All right, so I'll just go around the horn quickly. I see Ryan's not here. K-Man's here.
Hey, good
So you're
morning, Dale. Good morning, everybody.
hi,
No,
but
it's off for the
uh,
next day and a half. They've got the half term at school, and he's having a bit of quality time with the kids.
well, good for him.
Yeah,
Okay, life is more than trading.
absolutely.
Trading is what we do. It's not all we are,
That
right?
is correct.
If it
100%.
is, if
And
it
and
is, find a hobby.
and I gotta say, now that my kids are of a
Yeah.
little older, I would give anything to have them back at those ages again. So,
Blake, I'm on the lookout for a time machine. So, I have my reasons to. If I find one, you're very welcome to use it anytime.
oh,
So,
thank you.
you must be in the wrong room. No, maybe you're in the wrong room if you don't want to learn anything. Al. So, welcome. So, K-Man, I keep thinking about you. I mean, while we were trading up here and in
Mm,
here, your big number, 85, the big round number. I don't know
mhm.
who owns it, Ryan or you. Either
Um,
one of you. Yeah, I think it was you. I still have a pretty good memory. uh,
as you said, we don't own anything.
yeah,
We just have those levels in mind, and seems like the market has them in mind as well. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
a good sign.
So we're getting near the end of the week. Um, so perhaps we're doing something right on a weekly basis. That's a nice candle.
Yeah. You know what? It over the past two sessions, the mood for sterling has changed a bit. We've had those weaker data as well this morning, which came in as a bit of a surprise because they were weaker even than expected.
Yeah.
And also, Jeremy Hunt is babbling, having to scale back tax cuts and stuff. And the mood
Oh
for
yeah.
sterling seems to have changed a little bit. Including for myself, because as you know, I've been positive towards the sterling for quite a while, and since yesterday, I've abandoned that really positive bias for now, and I want to see what's going to happen. And as a matter of fact, today I think that we've got a whole string of US data out. Okay,
Yeah.
um, they are expected. The retail sales for a starter are expected to show a bit weaker numbers, a bit of a give back. And strategists expect even a bit of a worse number than that. So, and then we are having very volatile Philly numbers, later the industrial production. Um, Cable is on my radar just because of this shift in mood. And if we would get a positive surprise, which today I would say would be a surprise if we get much stronger numbers than expected. I think cable is a candidate for going to visit lower levels and breaking that 125, 125 and a quarter, perhaps.
I agree. If you had a rip maybe to 580 to 6, I'd sell it. I've targeted 2350 for cable.
Yeah, I mean it's very possible just because of that mood change. And as I've been saying, when we've been talking about that like already a lot of times, sterling is a very emotional currency at times. So when the mood shifts, it's going to be an accelerated euro dollar, especially if those US numbers are better. I think we could see a bit of an acceleration, but that is on my radar. I don't have the position right now. I'm not sure. I just want to see those numbers first because I have no clue what they are going to tell us.
Man,
Yeah.
Megan Green, speaking of Bank of England, she's just going off the handle over here. She is pretty
Oh, who?
Bank of England's Green.
Yeah, I think she came over as a bit of a softie, right? Or slightly tall,
She is she's right now, pretty hawkish.
hawkish.
Or just she thinks that inflation is going to stay very sticky.
Okay.
So she doesn't want to
Right.
loosen policy, basically.
Okay.
Metalheads, this could be a very good sign for you. We've tested this level first before we broke out, I don't know how many times, and now we're on the
Mm,
verge of negating that breakout, which
mm,
favors silver. I went in small in miners yesterday, so
mhm.
um, yeah, small. So we'll see. This though is a good longer term sign. Uh, should we break down here? I was looking for numbers like you were, but I have like kind of a wedge coming in at the 78.6 level here on silver.
Mm,
And I know everyone's looking at the big triangle and it comes in around 2120. And, everyone's looking at that triangle. So I
mm.
have a philosophy about when everyone's looking at the same chart, looking for the same number, that it either doesn't get there or it just blows through it,
Exactly. That's
right?
exactly it.
Is that the way
Exactly
it
it.
is? So I'm thinking maybe it won't get there, with this little speed line here
Mm,
coming in at 2150-ish or so and
yeah.
78.6 here. So silver seems to be shaping up with the gold silver ratio
Uh-huh.
and everyone waiting for 2120. That may not happen. And
Yeah.
so,
Well, as you know, I told you yesterday, right? I've had
yeah,
it just very small in the low 22s, just in case.
yeah,
I'm also waiting for those lower levels to dive in. And you know what? I'm still of the opinion that Q2 this year is going to be where a lot of things will start to be decided.
yeah.
And that's why I want to keep a lot of room in my books and ammunition to put on longer term trades. But this one is really firmly on my radar. If we start to get those, sorry, central banks starting to cut rates, if we have an economy that roughly holds up but showing slightly weaker data, I think this one could get quite explosive to the top side if all those pieces of the puzzle fall together.
Okay, and we have to keep an eye on 420 in the 10-year, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're pulling back to test
Mm,
it. Yeah, if we start closing back under 420, this will end up being a false breakout too.
yeah.
So that's something. Tremendous recovery and risk yesterday, and
Yeah.
getting some follow through today. It's not a new high. Not sure if we're going to make a new high. I think we're about maybe a little over 61.8 back here, and probably about the same in NASDAQ. It still could be a failing rally here. I think we'll know today or tomorrow. Um, there's one stock that looks like it still, could make a new high, and that's AMD. But even Buffett uh, paired off some Apple. That news came out yesterday on his whatever that filing that they do. I don't know why they do it to show what their positions are, what changes they've made. He still holds a ton of it. But, yesterday, even with the big recovery that we had in the market, Apple was still lower on the day. There's your daily, called the buck lower. So, if you own Apple, don't own it under 180. Okay. Don't own it there. And that's about uh, all I see for right now. And what are the numbers? Do we have some important numbers today? I
We
didn't see them.
we have retail sales.
Okay.
We have Philly Fed. We have industrial production numbers, unemployment claims, capex or capacity utilization. Excuse me. Then we got ore speaking a little bit later, which is pretty important because everybody's kind
Bobby
of
Orr.
shifting to. No,
Oh,
no.
you're old. You remember him.
Yeah,
Boston Brew
yes, no.
is
That
great.
No,
Bobby Orr.
RBNZ's or and
All
so
right.
yeah, we have a lot happening today. So today's going to be a big day. I think as Kman mentioned, and I want to reiterate this point because I think it's very important, is that you have a situation where everybody is pretty much thinking that the US data is going to start to weaken. The retail sales data should come in weaker. Most expectations are for a weaker print. And all the analysis that I was reading this morning as I was, sipping on my coffee at the 4 a.m. hour was, we're expecting below consensus expectations. I just kept reading that. I'm like, well, looks like everybody's coming in pretty weak. So, and it's interesting when you have the dollar basically sitting at, previous resistance, it's at support. You have a flag. Now, just think about this real quick. Technically, you got a nice little flag set up, and everybody's expecting that, U.S. consumer is going to roll over and die. So if the data comes in, as Kman pointed out, it comes in a little hotter than expected, the dollar's just propped up and ready to go. So I'll tell you this right now, and I think Kman, we were talking about it inside of the ForexAnalytix community, and if you're not in the ForexAnalytix community, there's some conversations that we were having. Here's Kman saying, we'll see what happens. I'm traveling very light in the US dollar. My conversation or my response is, yep, me too. Then we talk about our positions in there. If you want to know, like, some of the conversations that we're having and charts that we're posting and people that are, conversations we're having about the Bank of England and all those other things, make sure you're jumping in the ForexAnalytix community directly. But let's enlighten everybody what we were talking about. I have very little dollar longs on going into this number. How about you, Kman?
Yeah, you know what? I've got my options running. Yeah, dollar Swiss, euro dollar. To the top side of the dollar. But yesterday on those on the dollar move, I hedged quite a bit of it, and I've just started to unhedge slightly in the euro dollar in case just to be back into a little more positive dollar side without having really cash because it's against options. But just for the positive surprise, this is still the side that I'm kind of leaning towards, but it's such a big string of numbers that we have. Retail sales in the leader, I would say, and then we watch what comes next. But it's a big string of numbers, and we all know that the market still loves to sell dollars, right? So
Yeah.
we have to be a bit careful today. Today is probably going to define what's going to happen into the end of the week.
Yeah, and then
That's what I would
tomorrow,
say.
don't forget we got producer prices too.
As
So
well.
and people are going to be focused on that. So it is funny that everybody's like kind of forgot that we had a strong CPI data the other day. They're just kind
Yeah.
of they're moving on to the next, Kman.
And jobs data.
Yeah, and jobs data. Yeah, everybody's just kind of moving on to the next. Yeah, whatever. So I think we can just take a look around in the FX world. I want to also look at precious metals, look at the S&P. We got a little bit of things I want to cover. I know, Dale, why don't you go ahead? Dale, do you have an interview today?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you go take a step back for a few minutes and
Okay.
go relax a little bit. K-Man and I will take it from here, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, and Dale's been dealing with some head issues, and that's never fun for sure. So I want him to go make sure he's feeling a little bit better. At least try before he has to step in front of the mic again. All right, so let's looking at the euro, you can see how the euro is just consolidating around the 618 retracement. Ryan's actually playing off the long side here, which makes sense. I mean, we've been on both sides of the 618. One thing I do think about though is there has been very little dollar weakness in light of the equity markets bouncing back pretty good, but we'll see how the dollar fares here. I think a lot of that euro buying, by the way, has probably been the euro sterling. K-Man, this has been a real massive kind of shocker this week.
Yeah.
with the UK data. I mean,
Yeah,
it wasn't.
where everything seemed to be green shoots and positive. Bailey also talking the economy up.
Yeah.
It's the market has been forced to revise its opinion a bit. And you know what? In this whole thing, when you talk about the dollar or the sterling, look at those yield moves are still testifying that the market is so nervous about everything. Those even the 10-year yields in sterling have moved a lot on those data. And then looking back to the dollar rates is the same thing. We went higher in those 10 years, but we've already corrected 10 BPs. 10 BPs is not nothing on the tens. So it's all and FX is obliged to follow those moves because they are correlated and they create FX flows by the correlation algos or models. And I reckon that's why also we are still in those. You do a move on the euro and then it stabilizes. And then yesterday the market was quite positive towards sterling for a long while and has to scale back on this as well. And it's actually getting hit pretty hard via the euro sterling as well. And you're right to say that I think euro dollar is held up not only by those differentials, but what's happening in the euro crosses. Euro crosses.
Yeah. I mean, you got Euro Sterling, you got
Mm,
Euro Aussie that's just really coming right into some pretty key resistance here.
yeah,
Euro Swiss has
yeah,
been great, but we pulled back a little bit this morning, but I mean, this has been a hell of a move over the last week.
yeah.
So yeah, the Euro crosses look
Yeah,
pretty.
Eurocat doesn't want to stay under 145 either.
Yeah.
Yeah, you name it. There's a lot of processing, and I always think that some of this euro dollar failure to move is due to a lot of those of that cross trading. Is it gonna give up the ghost one day? Could be, and then we would probably be very quickly at 105 because the difference between the growth data is still enormous between the
Right,
EU and
right.
the
And
US.
that's a great point, Kman, because you hear this constant roar, and I agree, by the way. Oh, the ECB will be the first bank to cut rates. And they're so you should be short euros. And yet here we have the euro, not the euro dollar, so to speak. The euro dollars come off to the 618, but euro crosses that really are outperforming right now. And sometimes you get that lift of the invisible hand of the market,
Mhm.
just despite all of the majority of the market, right?
Mm.
So yeah, that's always an interesting factor. Hey, let's shift gears over to Australia. So Aussie data, the employment data came in not so hot, but the Aussie sell-off was fairly limited. We're coming right into some resistance here. I think this is all very critical resistance for the Aussie. We're at the 618 retracement of the most recent drop. We're attacking a trend line here that's been intact since December. But in all actuality, and I'm just going to go ahead and throw this up really quick, where I'll just put it up this way. So, if in all actuality, if you look at the divergence between this is the S&P and I guess that's
Mhm.
orange. Here, we've broken ranks from risk quite a bit this year. I
Mhm.
think a lot of that has to do with China, but since the beginning of this year, right around this level, right here, in the mid-January, we've seen the S&P continue to climb higher, but the Aussie is just unresponsive. Is that
Yeah.
going to continue, or
You
what do
know,
you think?
those equity markets have defied the laws of gravity, and FX is, for the time being, rather a spectator than an active actor in that. The correlation traders have not had a very good time if you want to trade FX versus equity markets, right?
Yeah,
A lot of money flowing in the equity markets, and I think the FX is perhaps, as I say, just a bit of a spectator right now.
a little
But
little
yes,
of a back. Is it going to be a backseat driver though,
mm,
like my 16-year-old?
yeah. And for me, the Aussie is 25-40, 65-25-40. That's where it plays or it doesn't play ball. Um, And then yeah, over to the US data. Me this afternoon. It's one of my currencies that I'm watching, especially if we would get let's say bad data out of the US, see how this reacts around 65, 25, 40. That's going to be a very interesting um, thing to monitor.
Yeah.
And on the contrary, if we get good data, I think we can get back to 64 and a half or maybe even lower. And the other one, as I said, is the cable, especially since we seeing a change of mood in sterling. That's going to be rather one that I'm watching in the case of very good data. I think there we can, yep, absolutely. And euro very neutral, but I'd say watch out 107.9510 for the euro dollar. If the numbers would disappoint and we get back above 108.10 on the euro dollar, I would suspect some shorts may do a runner. That's what I reckon anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we could see a move back up to, you know,
And
what, this 107.90 level. You know,
it has to stop
that's
there.
gonna be a pretty key level of resistance, I think, for the euro if we
Yeah.
make it back up there again, somewhere around here, for sure. Hey, let's take a look at precious metals, because I know there's so many traders that trade gold, and I know you guys are talking a little bit about silver, but I have to say gold is real. First of all, it's really heavy. We're not too far away from the 200 DMA. I think it's only saving grace at this moment is that you're seeing some dollar weakness at this
Mhm.
very moment in time. But
Mhm.
other than that, gold looks like, you know, like poop on a stick. I think that's the best way for me to describe it. How are you feeling about gold here?
Yeah, well, the one thing, and I was looking at that 60, 1975, 90 zone, 75, 80, 70, 85 zone. That is holding for now. And for as long as it holds, and then your 200 DMA will come into play as well. For as long as it holds, we have to respect it, but it's probably going to dive on a better set of numbers if we get it. It could bounce relatively hard if the numbers go down, and perhaps harder than silver in that case. If numbers show an overall weak print, this one could fairly quickly trade back at 2020,
Yeah.
and then we will see. And then we will see.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, just above, we have like one big traffic zone there, right? Between 20, 45, 50, and then 2020. There's one big traffic zone if you look a bit left from December, really. We have seen spikes outside, but that's a big traffic zone.
Yeah, it makes sense. You know, and I overall, we could be in a descending channel. I do think the 200 DMA comes into play eventually, because I still feel that yields are, even though we're testing some support this morning, I still feel that yields are overall, you know, just kind of stronger here. Let's also go take, you know, AJ brought up Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin is, this thing has been a monster, and actually Ethereum just played catch up with Bitcoin, and you know, we broke out yesterday finally, and Bitcoin continuing to just defy gravity here, and this is a good symbol of risk, but also flow. And here's the thing, I'm gonna just throw this one out for you guys. I wouldn't get caught chasing this thing up here, and I have zero exposure in Bitcoin. Uh, and I sure did want, I didn't want to buy it in the lower 30,000 level. Didn't see it. But I wouldn't be chasing it up here. You know, you just look left, and every time you chase it, you get caught, you know. That's I think we're doing that again. And especially as we have risk, you know, we're stalling at the 5,000 level in the S&P, which, by the way, if you guys haven't seen it, is the 618 retracement of the CPI sell off. We're basically, you know, right around here. So and looking at the S&P, you can see that's pretty important. I was talking with Chris Weston last night. He reminded me that NVIDIA earnings are next week. That's going to be a big one, obviously. And for those of you that don't watch equities, just, you know, take a look at, this is the monster right here, right? There's NVIDIA. This is crazy. If you guys have, I've been up watching this thing as it broke out, and I was like, no way, no. This SMCI. We talked about it when it had earnings a week ago, 2 weeks ago, excuse me, and it was trading around 600, and we're up to 900 right now. So I mean, this thing is just, and pre-market we're up another $30, $40, $44, excuse me. So just a continued screamer in this AI space. And so those are things that you have to be really, really paying attention to as we go through and try to navigate through the markets. So we don't have Ryan here. He's out with spending time with his kids, which makes a ton of sense. Kman and myself are just navigating through the markets as we're going to be attacking the data here in a second. So I'm going to just go ahead and see Jonathan. I just am seeing your comments.
I see JJVWAP as a.
Yes, he's my guess.
Okay,
Yeah,
there we
okay.
go.
Jonathan's asking about Simon Ree. I don't know
Yeah,
who he is.
I have no idea. Yeah. So anyway,
He wants me to grill him. Okay, I'll put him under the lights. Invite him, and let's see if we could produce a nervous breakdown for the guy. Would that make
there
you
you
happy?
go. There you go. Oh, I want to show you guys this too real quick. Dollar max, we're at pretty key triangle support. And remember, there's a 618 right below here. And you know what I was also looking at this morning, Kman, as I was looking at this Euromax also holding up relatively well. I was looking at it.
Yeah.
It's actually rallied quite a bit over the last hour, but I was thinking about it when I got up this morning. We were down here and I was like, man, I should pick up some Euromax down here. And then I'm like, I don't know if I need any more Mexican exposure at this point, because
Yeah,
I'm just trying to,
yeah, that is.
yeah, I'm trying to stay
we are in
steady
that
while it's
zone.
below the 200 DMA. But that Euromax right off of support, right?
Yeah, and that's another one of those euro crosses, huh?
Yeah.
And it is indeed that support around 1830. I'm monitoring that as well, to see if it holds or not.
All right. Well, we have just a couple of minutes before data, and Dale, I know you have you have an interview coming up. I hope you can get past migraines. I don't have my wife deals with them from time to time. So over the last 20 some odd years, I've been, the on the receiving end, the other receiving end of the migraines, understanding how she feels. And I know it's very difficult it's almost paralyzing at times. So
they happen every time, right around the same time every day, late afternoon. And you can't take the migraine medicine. They give you 9 pills for a month, and I need them every day, but you're not supposed to take them every day. So that's what I'm dealing with. Yeah.
Oh, does not sound like fun. Oops, shoot, I didn't mean to do that.
Anyone out there have a cure for migraine? I didn't think so. All right.
If you stop sniffing glue, Dale,
Yeah.
it helps.
Yeah, I was just going to say I don't have a cure that is suitable for if there would be minors listening to our show.
All right, hey guys, I'm just putting up real quick. I have the dollar on the left. This should be the S&P right in the middle. I'll put the S&P. There's a 15-minute chart on the S&P. I've got 10-year yields over here. Let me move this drawing tool out of the way. And we're going to be paying attention to this data as it comes out. Now, we go over to ForexAnalytix, go over to where it's the calendar. You can follow 2 different places. You have the calendar right here, but also we'll just open data flash because this way I can move this window and bring it back over our charts like that. And now we're about 60 seconds. No, actually, I take that back. 20 seconds away from data. So heads up, guys. Here we go.
Yeah.
Remember, strong data, that sterling's walking a fine line, but on some
Yeah.
weak data, we might get that euro pushing up towards 108. So I think
Yeah.
you got good looks in either direction. So here we come.
Empire better.
Retail sales negative 0.8%.
Oh, negative 0.8 retail sales apparently.
Also month on month negative. Positive.
Right at the negating the breakout in 10-year 420 right here.
Yeah, we're seeing the
again,
dollar really come under pressure.
The US retail sales
Stocks like the move.
Yeah. Pretty weak employment in the Philly.
in a revision to the retail sales market.
Yeah.
And you know, with the jobless claims not as bad as you'd think. Gosh dang, man, I'm trying to get some fills over here.
So
Which
far
I
as
just
that 105 Dixie looks pretty good now. But I still think there's another run, maybe from 380. Maybe it's going to try the 380 now.
I just
anyway.
sold the euro at 69 or 68 rather. I just sold some here. So basically I was selling into this strength. I got a decent fill. I wanted better above 70, but they didn't give it to me. So I was just like hitting the bid and the liquidity was not quite there. So I'm going to scalp out of that one for 10 or 20 pips, I think. But that's it.
I think EG is a big story this week. You know, as far as a change.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The euro sterling is, and it's propping up a lot of the other euro crosses as Dale or as Kman and I were talking about. But yeah, this euro sterling does look pretty damn. I think that's going to weigh on the cable. So I think a lot of people were focused on a breakdown in the euro sterling this week, but no bueno. So dollar pulls back a little bit, but you know, it's kind of popping right back up again. I think the weekly unemployment claims continue to be really great. You know, labor market still looks frothy, I guess is the way to look at it. Anyway, Kman, thank you for being here today. I know Ryan for the next couple of days is going to be kind of sporadically around. So I appreciate you stepping in and being here as you are every day anyway. So thank you very much for your help. Dale, I really hope you can get through this interview okay. And I'll be listening in. So if you need my help, just reach out. I'll keep us on and put it on mute. But everybody, make sure you jump in, check out ForexAnalytix when you get an opportunity. Come join our community. You can be inside of our trades room where you can see where I just posted my trade there. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, so do yourself a favor in your trading career and become part of the community. Anyone who's watched my evolution as an analyst, as a trader, from say 7 years ago to now, I'm sure you could tell a difference, and it's because of who I've surrounded myself with. So you can do it too. That's my migraine advice for you guys, because blowing out accounts can give you headaches too. So I have JJ VWAP with us today. Hi, JJ. It's been a while.
Hey, Coach, how are you? Sorry to hear that you're not feeling well.
Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit with these migraines, but you know, the show must go on. I've, you know, always believed in that. So here I am. I'm glad to be able to talk to you and wish you a great 2024. What's on the docket for you, buddy?
Oh man, it's been last year was a great year and this year is turning out to be okay too. Just learning how to trade this market and learning how to adapt as it changes, from day to day. And it's been a really, these markets with low supply are challenging to trade.
Okay.
But we've come
So
up
why
with.
don't you share your charts and so that people know what's really kind of like your major tool when you
Sure.
talk about supply and you talk about demand, and you say things are always changing. What has been the biggest change? You talk about lack of supply.
Definitely. Lack of supply is huge in these markets. And And the thing is, the rotations in these markets are massive because they're thin markets because the ranges when you have it's all speculative money in these markets right now. It's investment money doesn't trade in a 60-point range, 80-point range. It's hard for them to put a position together. You've traded size. So
Yeah,
this stuff,
I've heard pros. I forgot the guy's name, but he's famous billionaire saying that in his view, the stock market's broken because it doesn't trade on the things that you were just talking about. It's
yeah.
really just algo's trading price.
Well,
So
and yeah,
go ahead.
and the other thing is we changed the fundamental nature of the markets when we went from a commission-based revenue model in the US capital markets to an asset gathering-based revenue model. So now with low interest rates locking up, I mean, look at the positions that the large money managers have in Apple, Microsoft, Tesla. How are you going to sell 1 billion shares of Apple, even if you wanted to, when it trades less than 100 million shares a day? So these people have like you could imagine that stock having like 6 inches of dust on it in a crypt somewhere. It's not going anywhere. It's paid for in cash too. So the rest of the market is left to these large speculators who have insane amounts of money now. These guys who used to be ex Goldman prop, guys, like the guy like McGoldrick who just passed away last year, who left Goldman Sachs with, $70 million as a bonus and started his own fund. Those kind of people are trading these markets and it's all spec money. I mean, that's why you have these huge, massive rotations. I was telling people when we hit this high and we look below this 49.75, I said, if we fail and come back up, target's 50.24, which we
Here we
just
are.
hit. Yeah,
Yeah.
these markets just rotate. The last time we rotated, did the same thing. And we're back to just simple market mechanics where, the bid follows the offer, right? So the bid follows the offer, then, we run out of buyers, put it on sale. As soon as you put it on sale, lower prices. That's like Black Friday at Walmart. When you open that door and those 70-inch TVs are $100, people just come running in for them, you know? And
Nice metaphor.
and it's so that's what's going on. That's the mechanics of the dip buying in an uptrend. Now this trend is built on massive short positions, true, but the thing is the way the system is, people large, really, really large investors don't sell stock positions to book profits now. They just take loans against them because they don't have to
Okay. I
gain.
guess Berkshire just filed their
Yeah, yeah, I heard it.
they did liquidate some Apple. They still hold a ton of it. And
Yeah.
maybe that's why they only sold a little bit is because they can't sell a lot of it.
Exactly, exactly. And it's good that they added some supply, because the way that stock keeps buying back stock and putting it back into treasury, it's going to be a private company soon. You know, so yeah, it's good. It's good that they sell some stock. We need we need liquidation is kind of the grease that helps price action. I've always found that, because I was always a liquidator of, large positions. So, I've always noticed that when markets get too short and they climb too high, you get a lack of interest and the price action just grinds to a halt. So let's
Well,
hope
that's
this.
not happening. So is that going to happen to NVIDIA? Let's see. Do you have a chart like this for NVIDIA?
NVIDIA, I
That would
yeah,
show like, okay, so you have
yeah.
supply at 929,
NVIDIA, I've got
780.
yeah, well, NVIDIA, the cost basis is from 396 to 482. We're in distribution now, right?
Okay.
That's like if you go and look at these charts, this thing that Stadelmeyer and Dalton they teach is this balance, right? And then you balance times two and then times four to get targets. But the
Okay.
concept is the
Because I've
concept.
heard that 783 number a few weeks ago from a guy that, I like his work, Peter
Oh,
Goodburn, and that he said
okay.
we could get to 770, 780. We're like 5 minutes away
Yeah,
from that happening, right?
yeah, this thing is just, these stocks, they have a tight float. The float is owned by institutions and locked up. And then what happens is once that cost base is established and a little demand comes in, it just takes off. And then the other thing too is the concept of, you know, you'll have heard of this term when the street takes it. When the street takes a
Yeah.
stock, you don't want to be short because it's like a herd of water buffalo just stampeding and you're going
Yeah.
against the flow. And that's that SMCI too. I mean, look at this thing.
Yeah.
SMCI, because and especially once these stocks, you know how it is, $500 to 750, right? The next jump is from 750 to 1,000, right? Tesla did it. Every large, Vanderbilt, that's what Vanderbilt did with Harlem Railroad when he tried to take it to 1,000 back in 1870, whatever, right? Same thing, right? Market never changes. It's just the
Nothing new under the sun, Solomon.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's the
Yeah.
delivery system of the market just becomes more efficient with computing and algos and stuff like that. But this is the cost basis on SMCI is down here 233 to 300, and there's
Yeah.
there's there's no overhanging supply up here to sell into to push the thing down. And a lot of people don't really think about that. I remember working on one deal where we did a direct mail program and we took the stock from $3 to $5, and then at $7, the guy who was running the deal, he didn't have enough paper cleared. You'll know what that means. The younger people won't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he didn't have enough paper in DTC, so he ran out of stock to sell, and it gapped from $7 to $15 in like 30 minutes. Because he couldn't.
Okay.
We're like, sell some stock, hold it down. He's like, I don't have any more. You took me out of my whole position.
Okay,
So yeah.
this creates a pretty good question because, look, parabolas have existed, like you said, from the
Mhm,
beginning of trading or investing,
mhm,
South Sea bubble,
mhm.
all of this tulip mania. What, in your view, sets the top and the end of a parabolic move? Are there any characteristics that you've noticed over time that
Yeah.
would tell you that parabola, because we know once parabolic moves end, it's over, right?
Yeah.
So,
I would say
go
some
ahead.
sort of a material change. Like when a company,
Fundamentals.
yeah, a material change, something that affects earnings or the business itself. Like, when a company files an 8K, it's a material change to the business, right? So
Okay.
just like that in trading, something with interest rates, accounting fraud. Here's the one thing that kind of makes me nervous is you look at some of these money managers that are holding trillions of dollars. God forbid anything happens to one of these guys because they are like, the amount of money that they hold and transact is just insane and really without much oversight.
Well, you mean if something happened to them, it would create a
Oh yeah,
forced liquidation?
I think so. That would be monumental.
I
But
mean,
I'm not
if
into
I was
fear
a,
mongering. Yeah, but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but it's just one of those things that I'm going like, oh, I hope that doesn't happen. But having said that, the clearing system in the US is second to none. I mean, these markets get stretched and pulled like silly putty in all different directions, and the clearing works. I've got a buddy of mine who's a margin clerk at one of the big firms, and some days are pretty hairy, but it's a testament to how well the plumbing of the US capital markets are, that the clearing system works even when it gets stressed.
Well,
It's
it hasn't been stressed for quite some time. So,
yeah,
can we say that? Can we say that is the case if we had a material change?
yeah,
Um,
that would be
some type of exogenous event, and we don't
yeah,
have floor traders
yeah.
making markets, and it's all just machines.
That is tough because the machine doesn't, because one of my buddies used to be a specialist at SLKC on the floor. Yeah, and he's been around for 40 years and this guy's seen everything. And he knew like, oh, there's a big block of 2 million shares coming. Hang on, wait a minute. I know a guy 2 weeks ago who was looking for a block. Let's see if we can do a cross, right? And that
Yeah,
stabilizes the market. That doesn't really happen unless they have some sort of newfangled AI
yeah.
black pool that will do that. I don't know. I'm not privy to that information. But
Okay.
unless we have developed that kind of thing, then yeah, you've seen what happens when we go bid off. And we haven't done that in a while, but it is scary in electronic trading when we go bid off because, computers, they don't make mistakes and they don't have emotions. So the bids just fall and the book just clears like the red, like Moses parted the ocean. And that that's
So
that's that's the one thing
I
that's
know
that.
that you're mainly a SPOO trader.
Yep.
But Barry is asking, do you see any sectors with potential material changes forthcoming?
Oh man, I really I'm not, I do read the journal and Bloomberg and everything, but I haven't sussed anything out yet.
Okay.
There are a lot smarter people than me that would be able to answer that question because I'm solely, I'm a blue collar trader. Very price action orientated, make my daily bread and go home kind of thing. I read the rags and stuff like that, but I haven't been able to see anything yet.
One of the most undervalued sectors that you could just see by price would be miners. For
Oh yeah.
example, AG
Oh,
um, just took out or retested its COVID low. Okay, that's, you know, and when that low was being made in COVID, silver was 11, $12, not 22. And the
okay.
stock is testing the COVID low. See that
Yeah,
2020 low?
yeah, I see that right
So
now.
here we are. So, I mean, think about it. It's down here and silver's $10 higher
Yeah.
than it was before it
Now,
made the run after COVID.
now the one thing I've got to ask is, are they diluting this stock? Because this thing,
I don't know. And
right?
you're right.
As
That's
soon as I
something.
as soon as I
Yeah.
look at this chart, the biggest thing that pops in my head is S8, which is stock-based compensation, and
Oh
doing
yeah.
cheap convertibles because mining companies go through money like poop through a goose, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
and it's so they're always, the stock is the only way that they can keep the lights on.
It's their Fed.
Hmm.
I know I've gotten paid in stock before when I did some IR work.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, always wanted the free trading, but
Yeah,
even if you have to wait a year on restricted, you
I,
still get paid eventually
hopefully.
if it's still trading.
I've got a couple of Rubbermaid bins full of 144
Yeah,
cents then.
yeah, yeah. There, yeah, you could use it for wallpaper. Wallpaper.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. So, do you see any signs of the bull ending at all in
I
S and
I
P's?
I don't see it yet. I don't
Yeah.
see it yet. And the underlying stocks aren't trading enough volume to make me nervous. I
Okay.
mean, Apple's trading, a couple of million shares, 40 million shares. I looked and I saw it only traded 100 million shares once every 3 months, and it's got 16 billion in the free float, right?
And they're doing
So,
buybacks.
and they're doing buybacks. So they're taking stock out of the float, out of DTC, right, and returning it to the treasury, right, which is effectively reducing the supply, right? So that's one of those things that I find it quite fascinating. I don't know how this is all going to end. I've never seen markets where people don't sell stuff because a market is made for people to bring in stuff at a wholesale price, mark it up, and sell it for a profit. And the speculators are doing it, but you know, that large investment money, the way they hold on to positions for 20, 30 years is I've never seen that before. And I've never seen the accumulation of stock positions, to the degree that they are right now. And also the monopolization of market making and liquidity providing. Right. There's I think 6, 7 firms now that control all the order flow coming into the US capital markets worldwide.
Including dark pools.
Yeah, I don't know. I just heard that there was two big firms that are controlling what 60 or 70% of the order flow that come in. I mean, the monopoly in market making is insane these days. And the size of these firms. So it's a very interesting time in history if you're into the history of the market like I am. This is
Okay, so JJ, why don't you tell our viewers and attendees what you do and what you
sure,
offer?
sure. Um,
You have a room and you
yeah, we
work with
do.
people.
We do. We have a room and it's microefutures.com. And it's just I'll just do a shameless plug for it here. What we do here is we teach people how to make money um, without drama, make our daily bread. It's very blue collar trading based on simple trades that are repeatable, that really watch for your risk. We're big believers in teaching people how to fish. So we don't call out levels and things like that. We teach them how the market works so they're trading, in the right direction, which is the hardest thing. We also teach them when not to trade. And
All
we,
right, that's a good one. When's a good time not to trade?
well, especially if you start seeing like, we use the 1 minute candle chart to tell us a lot of information. I'm not a traditional candle guy, but when you see like really, really tight candles, like you see here, this really,
Yeah,
I call it micro chop.
yeah,
That's a wholesaler's market, and that's when they're going to pick your pocket, you know. So we have trades that are based on what we call the look below and fail. So when the market looks below a level and fails, the rotation causes it to go up to the next level. So that's what we do. We use these balance zones and we just trade from level to level, in and out. In choppy markets, we advise people to take profits quickly. And because it takes time to learn how to hold a position and manage a position. It's kind of like riding a motorcycle. You can't lean it over very far when you first start out. You got to get comfortable in the trade. And my biggest thing is to teach people how not to lose money until they know what they're doing.
yeah.
That's a
So
big thing.
do you have them stay on demos for a certain period of time?
To learn the software and how it works and to train their reflexes, and then we go to the micro and then get consistent on the micro e-mini and then
Okay.
up to the mini. And it's all
Okay, so
teaching yourself how to react, right?
yeah. So a micro mini 10 handle move is worth what?
It's a buck and a quarter a point. So 10 points is
Okay.
12. It's the same as
Okay.
as um, you know,
Right.
the mini, except divided by 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a real good in the middle way to trade because you really, can't get blown out with too much
Yeah.
leverage. Yeah.
Yeah. And we
What
recommend
size account do you, even though it's
oh,
small, do you
I
still think, I mean,
sorry.
when you tell people or they ask you, JJ,
Oh,
what size account should I trade micros with?
just start small. They have like a lot of these good firms with they give good margin. Out of Chicago, you can trade for $50 margin on one micro during the day. So, just start out, put maybe $500 in there. You're not going to make money at first. You're going to have to learn your craft like anything else. The other good
Mm,
thing are those funded trader programs where you pay $50 a month and you trade a $3,000 account. And that enforces discipline, right? So there's lots of options in futures. And I like futures because there's none of this borrowing to short and all this stuff and
yeah,
and
it's
PDT
clean.
rule. Yeah, it's clean, it's in and out. The only problem is, the symbols are a little messed up compared to equities. But other than that, and rollover can be a pain in the butt the first couple of times. But other than that, it's so much easier for a new trader to learn that one, first learn that one fundamental setup that pays your phone bill and your rent, and then build on that.
Any setups today?
Today, right now, I'm looking to see this 5024. I want to see what that does in RTH and the overnight low. Also, 5011 is a big thing for me. What I'm going to do is I just trade the setups that the chart, like I'll just wait. Like when the
Yeah.
market drops below one of my levels and comes back up, I go long up to the next level, then take a break. That's why I call it blue collar trading. We like to make, 2 to 3 points on a couple of contracts, do that 2, 3 times a day. And once you start giving back more than 10, 15% of your daily gains, you just step away.
Okay. All right. That's old school. Like
Yeah,
it.
well, I was trained by really cheap old guys. So,
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, good. You went to the Miser Trading Academy.
oh yeah, my boss was worth 600 million bucks and took the bus to work.
Yeah. Okay. He had the first dollar he ever made.
Oh yeah, he is,
Uh,
God bless him. He was the best. He made us pay for coffee, no matter how much
yeah.
commission you made him.
Yeah.
And,
Uh, God, you certainly could find uh, many characters in
um,
this industry. And you know what,
definitely.
JJ? You and I are two of them.
Yeah, definitely.
So nice talking to you, buddy. I hope you and your people have a a great 2024, and
Thank
that
you, Coach.
that you keep churning out people and giving them the rules so they don't make that one big mistake, because it's a one mistake business, and I've made it more than once. So
Yeah, we've all been in there, and
yeah,
I hate seeing people get hurt. So
yeah.
thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And
All right,
yeah,
buddy. Well, we'll talk again in the spring.
sounds great. Have a good
All
one.
right. And you can find JJ on X at VWAP Trader. Right, buddy?
Yeah, VWAP Trader 1.
One. Okay.
Yep.
VWAP Trader 1. And I hope you guys enjoyed JJ. If you're a beginner, it could be a good place for you to consider starting. And that's going to be a wrap for me. I'll see everyone tomorrow for TGIF, and could join the team in 20 minutes for the morning edge. And thank you, everyone, for your well wishes. And yeah, uh, live to trade another day, live to have another migraine in the afternoon. So I've been through this before. Okay, so have a good day, everyone. Good hunting. I still think the high's in the S&Ps and in the Dow, and I think we'll see 4640 sometime by April. So good hunting, and I'll see everyone tomorrow. Oh yeah, count your blessings, not just your pips. You're welcome, Alexander, Patrick, everyone. See